juice knowing that Trey will be coming back for that game as well?
Yeah, that'll definitely be fun. What
did you think when you saw the news that he was signing there?
Not very surprising.
Why is that?
Because I know Trey, I love Trey, and I just know how he operates.
Joe Burrow just gave Trey Hendrickson and the entire Baltimore Ravens defense a bulletin board moment, and he did it with a smile on his face. A clip surfaced this week of Burrow being asked about Trey Hendrickson's signing with Baltimore. And instead of showing respect for one of the best pass rushers in football, a guy who spent years being disrespected by the Cincinnati organization, while Burrow was their franchise quarterback, Burrow smirked and said it wasn't surprising, that he knows how Trey operates. People are calling it nothing. People are saying it was just friendly banter. I'm telling you right now, that is exactly what Joe Burrow wants you to think. And I am not buying it for a single second. Before we break down exactly what Burrow meant and why this should have the entire Ravens locker room fired up, 3 things you need to know first. 1. Trey Hendrickson spent years being underpaid and disrespected by Cincinnati while Burrow collected his massive contract and said nothing publicly to help his teammate. 2. Lamar Jackson's all-time record against Joe Burrow is not close, and Burrow knows it. And 3. The Ravens' wide receiver situation just got a major injection of young talent that Bengals fans do not want to talk about heading into 2026. We're getting into all of it. Let's start with the Burrow clip, because context matters here, and the full context is actually worse than the quote alone. Burrow was asked what he thought when he heard Trey Hendrickson signed with Baltimore. Simple enough question. A question that most quarterbacks answer with something respectful about a former teammate moving on to a new opportunity. That's the normal response. Instead, Burrow said it wasn't surprising, that he knows Trey, that he knows how he operates. Now the Bengals fan base ran with that immediately, calling Trey a traitor, calling him a rat for going to Baltimore, using Burrow's words as ammunition. And some people are rushing to defend Burrow, saying he started with, "I love Trey, so it couldn't have been a shot." Let me tell you something. "I love Trey, I just know how he operates" is absolutely a shot. That is the oldest passive-aggressive move in the book. You lead with the compliment to give yourself cover, and then you slide the knife in with the follow-up. It's slick, it's calculated, and it's exactly the kind of thing that gets clipped and circulated because people know it landed. And here is what makes it worse. Where was all this Burrow commentary when Trey Hendrickson was sitting out of training camp demanding a fair contract from Cincinnati? Where was the public support from the franchise quarterback when his best pass rusher was being lowballed year after year by the same organization writing Burrow's massive checks? Crickets. Total crickets. But now that Hendrickson is gone, now that he took his talents to Baltimore and signed with the team that has owned the Bengals in this rivalry, suddenly Burrow has something to say? That tells you everything you need to know.
I am 1,000,000% sure that both times when the Ravens play the Bengals, hopefully only before the game and not after, but because hopefully Joe Burrow after the game, he'll be really mad. I'm like, "Man, Trey, why you had to sack me so many times like that? Why you had to do me like that?" But I'm sure before the game, Trey Hendrickson and Joe Burrow will show each other plenty of love.
Trey Hendrickson left Cincinnati because they did not value him the way he deserved to be valued. Full stop. This is a player who put up elite pass rush numbers year after year. A player who was one of the most disruptive defensive ends in the AFC. And the Bengals dragged out his contract situation, lowballed him repeatedly, and made him feel like an afterthought while the offensive side of the ball got all the organizational attention and resources. Baltimore came in and showed him what it looks like when a franchise actually respects what you bring to the table. The Ravens opened the checkbook and made it clear, "We want you here, we value you, and we are building something worth being part of." That is not being a rat. That is being a professional who made the best decision for his career. And now he gets to chase a Super Bowl with one of the greatest quarterbacks alive instead of spinning his wheels in Cincinnati wondering if this is finally the year they get it right. And here is the part that should make every Bengals fan genuinely uncomfortable. Trey Hendrickson is now lining up every single day next to a Ravens pass rush unit that is going to be one of the most terrifying in the league. Jesse Minter is a defensive-minded head coach who built his reputation on getting the most out of elite defensive talent. Hendrickson is going to thrive in this system in a way he never fully could in Cincinnati's scheme. So yes, Joe, you knew how Trey operated. You saw it up close for years. And now the rest of the NFL is about to see it from Baltimore in purple and black. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture here, because the Burrow comments are just the headline. The real story is what this Ravens roster is becoming. This is a franchise that went out this offseason and fixed every problem that held them back last year. The defense was soft. They addressed it with Hendrickson and a completely new coaching staff built around defensive identity. The wide receiver room was thin. They double-dipped in the draft and brought in 2 young receivers at back-to-back picks, something this organization almost never does because they understood the need was real. And now the Bengals want to talk about the Ravens? Now Burrow wants to weigh in with his little smirk and his loaded comments? Lamar Jackson is 9-3 all-time against Joe Burrow. 9-3. The Bengals' one bright moment in this rivalry was last season, and even then, the Ravens still own the series by a mile. Joe Burrow has built a nice career. He's a good quarterback, but he plays in a division where one man has made his professional life miserable on a consistent basis, and that man wakes up every morning in Baltimore. Here is my take on the Bengals as a whole, and this is where I stop holding back. Cincinnati is not built to compete with what Baltimore is assembling right now. Joe Burrow is injury-prone. Their offensive line has chronic questions. Their defense has never been elite enough to carry them when the offense sputters. And now they no longer have their best pass rusher because they refused to pay him what he was worth. Meanwhile, the Ravens have Lamar Jackson in a brand new offensive system, which historically means an MVP season is coming. They have Derrick Henry still in the backfield. They have Zay Flowers as the most dynamic slot receiver in the AFC. They have a defense that is about to play angry under Jesse Minter. And they have Trey Hendrickson, motivated, healthy, and ready to prove a point to the organization that let him walk. When these two teams meet in 2026, Joe Burrow is going to have a very bad day. And when Hendrickson gets to him, and he will get to him, I want everybody to remember this clip. I want everybody to remember the smirk. The little "I know how he operates" comment delivered with that Burrow confidence that has never once been backed up against this franchise when it mattered most. Trey Hendrickson does not need to say a single word in response. He does not need to clap back on social media. He does not need to address the comments or give Burrow any more attention. He just needs to play football. And when the Ravens and Bengals line up across from each other this season, the scoreboard is going to do all the talking. Baltimore is built different right now. This roster is hungry. This coaching staff is hungry. And they just added one of the most motivated players in the entire NFL, a man who was disrespected by his previous organization, quietly cheered on from the sideline by his own quarterback, and then watched that same quarterback try to get cute with the press once he was gone. That fuel does not run out. That kind of motivation carries through an entire season. Joe Burrow gave the Ravens an early Christmas gift with that comment. And come game day, Trey Hendrickson is going to unwrap it right in his face. Do you think Hendrickson puts up a monster game the first time he faces the Bengals this season? Or does Burrow find a way to get the last laugh? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear where Ravens fans stand on this. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button. We defend this team, and we hold the rest of the AFC accountable every single week. This is Ravens Report. I'll see you in the next one.